Hello, guys. Welcome to Sound of Manchester. My name is Anurag, and I'm joined by Kushagra and Prathamesh. Guys, we are just trying out a little virtual background today. We are not precisely at the Old Trafford. I think that's very much understandable. Obviously, no one would expect me to be at the Old Trafford right now. Uh, Fabulous game, but the guys who were at the Old Trafford yesterday, they did a magnificent job. Unlike the fixture on Sunday, where Chelsea United both played quite a boring game, and let's not talk about that. I think we've wasted enough time. You guys can check on our the Sports Join channel where we've spoken quite abundantly, quite
Yeah,
Rather
extensively about that
excessively,
game.
indeed.
rather
Almost
excessively.
Yeah,
excessively.
almost
That is the right
almost
word.
as if
So since we will yeah, we'll
yeah.
keep that discussion out for now. Let's not talk how boring that game was. But yesterday's game was magnificent. Marcus Rashford came off the bench, became only the second Manchester United player to score a hat trick after coming off the bench, and the other man being the one and only Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's sort of a fitting story in some sense. Prathamesh, I'll come to you first. So I know you're a huge Marcus Rashford fan, and I'm sure that must have been a great day for you yesterday. Also adding to that was Surya Kumar Yadav's brilliant knock.
Oh well.
But let's keep it to
I think
football. Okay?
more.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's keep
let's
it to
keep it to
football.
football. Yeah.
But yeah. But I liked what Surya did at the end rather than the knock itself. Like more than that. But yeah, coming back to football and Old Trafford, absolutely loved Marcus Rashford. Unfortunately, I had a very bad cycle which forced me to sleep 70 minutes into the game. And I woke up at 4 o'clock realizing the scoreline was final with my TV was on in front of me. So I watched a 20 minutes replay at 4 a.m. in the morning, and it was absolutely fantastic. It was worth being awake at 4 a.m. to watch that. Marcus probably has done so many brilliant things outside the football pitch this season, and it was about time that he got his first hat trick, because he has scored a couple of goals in a lot of games. But unfortunately, that third elusive goal is something that he was chasing, and it's great to see that, in spite of him being on a hat trick, he gave the chance to Martial, who he says is more comfortable taking penalties. Probably Martial also needed that first goal, his first shot on target rather, and scoring that goal was important for him as well. So I think that shows great character within Marcus Rashford, and there is a reason why he is the MBE, and the MBE became MVP last night.
Rashford,
Yeah.
fresh legs in the 75th minute. I think that is sort of off-putting for any good defender. So let's not get there. Uh, yeah, Kushagra, there was obviously so much talk about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the tactics, the PE teacher, and now, uh, yesterday, what he did was put a diamond in place.
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't have really written it. Anurag, if I had come and told you, this is going to be the result, you'd probably tell me to stop drinking so much or something like that, right? So, because none of us could have expected such a fantastic result. Even when the squads came out, we were all very very skeptical because it was the diamond, and a lot of United fans did want to see the diamond, but none of us had really seen the diamond, and personally, I was slightly disappointed that Donny van de Beek was played as the attacking midfielder. I would rather see him play as the eight, but whatever, you cannot have everything. And let me just, you know, of course, we'll talk about Marcus Rashford. We'll talk about the man, the myth, the legend that he is. But let me just start from the very, very beginning. Manchester United lined up as a proper 4-4-2 with a diamond formation, and this is one formation that in which Manchester United are able to maximize their best players on the pitch. So the biggest strength for Manchester United currently, which is very ironic for the past couple of seasons, is their midfield. We've got the likes of Bruno, Pogba, of course Van de Beek, and to support them in the defensive role, we've got Matic, Fred, and Scott McTominay. So these six for those three positions or those four positions is a fantastic blend, and I think if Solskjaer has his way, you'll see a combination of three or four of these midfielders amongst the six all throughout this season, and they'll keep rotating. Again, another positive aspect that happens with playing only two up top rather than three. United have two spare strikers regardless of who they play up top,
The
right?
bench, yeah.
Yes, whether it's Rashford, Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, Greenwood, Martial, Cavani, Greenwood, Cavani, Martial, Cavani, Rashford, whatever, whosoever plays up top, United have two replacements on the bench, and because of that, it gives the manager so much of flexibility and so much of faith. The last point on this is that Ole Solskjaer had five substitutions to make in the second half. Any team which, when it makes five substitutions, is essentially a new team, you know, and he planned this game to perfection. If anyone, and this is a public proclamation that I'm making on this channel, if anyone ever comes and tells me that this man doesn't know his tactics, doesn't know his football, I'll surely just block you and make sure you unsubscribe from this channel and everything else, because this is just an absolute agenda. Everyone with the greatest of tactics has come and played and lost. Tuchel was supposed to be the Nagelsmann before Nagelsmann was the Nagelsmann, right? Tuchel was supposed to be the guy
Truly,
with
yeah,
the new
exactly.
football. And he's played Tuchel thrice. He's beaten him twice. And amongst those two times, one of them was a two-legged affair in which United qualified. Okay, he's played Nagelsmann and he
Yeah.
gave Nagelsmann his biggest loss in his career yesterday. They were thoroughly outplayed. And just as a small request to the ESPN FC pundits, especially Stevie Nicol and Craig Burley, guys, you should watch the matches before commenting on them. You talk about United being lucky, not controlling the game and everything else. I'll just read out a couple of stats to everyone just so that they know. You know, there were a total of 499 passes that RB Leipzig made yesterday. United made 456 passes. That's a deficit of 43 passes. There were 681 touches of the ball that RB Leipzig had, 651 for Manchester United, a deficit of 30 touches. There were 9 shots in total from RB Leipzig. There were 14 from Manchester United. There were 2 block shots from RB Leipzig. There were 4 from Manchester United. There were no goals from RB Leipzig. There were 5 from Manchester United. That's how you play matches. That's how you win games. It does not matter what system you're playing. It matters what the result and the outcome is. I said the very same thing about Chelsea. Had we won 1-0, no one would have complained. So full marks to Ole Solskjaer. And for me, Fred was out of this match.
Exactly. If you can say that I do have an agenda on Fred, which is a positive agenda, if I should say. I've been a
Yeah.
big fan of what he's been producing in the last 1 year, and people keep talking about Thomas Partey being the engine, and Angulo Conte being the engine. Yeah, obviously they are a level ahead of Fred. We can say that, but in their prime, they're always a level ahead. You could say that they're better players and all that, but the engine that Fred is, I think
Oh,
this
amazing.
guy will he can just enter into any footballing team in the entire world right now with just the engine that he is. He can in the 89th minute he can make a sprint with as efficiently, as quickly as a new forward who just came in the 75th minute. That is Fred for you. And yesterday we've seen he made a contribution in each and every goal that was scored, and he provided a key, I think, an assist to an assist, that we could say, to all
For
the
the
four goals
Greenwood,
that were scored,
for
the
the
first four.
Greenwood goal, yeah.
Yeah, for the Greenwood one, actually all the first four goals, besides the
Yeah.
last one, I think,
I think besides the besides
the
the besides the fifth goal, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, yeah, pretty much. He literally covered everything up there, and that was magnificent to see. Fred, but again, the one question that comes to mind is how good can Fred be if he is left alone you know in a midfield where in a diamond you obviously see the defensive midfielder or being almost alone guarding the back four. uh, how good or bad he can be, that is something people have spoken a lot about it. Like he does well in pairing, he does well when he has good support from Pogba or Scott McTominay. Again, who cares, man? If this is a formation that is working, if this is a thing where we are getting goals, and we've got goals against some of the very, very best players. I know plenty of United fans are taking a piss on Upamecano and Konate. Let's not forget the fact
Oh no,
that those
let's
two are
not forget.
amazing footballers,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
our people were magnificent yesterday. I think
Yeah,
that
rather
was
than be
the best
negative,
takeaway.
Anurag, just a small point. I think, again,
Yeah,
I'm sort of probably being too big-headed in making this statement, but this is what the general tendency of football Twitter is. Rather than being positive
yeah,
about
exactly.
something, it's more important to be negative. It's the same thing about people who want Ole Solskjaer in the job. They'll go and attack people who said he's not good enough. You should have a balanced argument. If you think he's not good enough for the job, you're very well in your within your rights to make that argument. It's the same thing about Upamecano, right? One match doesn't define a player. One match. Nagelsmann is not a bad coach because his team lost 5-0. And let's be very real, okay? For the first 65 minutes, at least for the first 45 minutes, the match was fantastic. It was end to end pace. Both the teams going at it. And
Yeah,
Anurag, you must have seen the last 20 minutes of the first half. United were genuinely piped down in their own half, and the pressing from Leipzig. I remember saying this in one of the WhatsApp groups. If Leipzig can keep this up, they really are having Red Bull for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
absolutely. I think we were also talking about how tense the situation was until the second goal, which again another player. We had the privilege of resting Bruno yesterday, and the once he came off the bench, he was unstoppable yesterday. He is a God's gift for United, quite literally. I
Yeah,
think that pass to
Yeah.
Rashford was so fantastic. I mean, what I just felt like that was a kick right out of nowhere. I was for a semi-second I was pissed. What is he doing? And then you see he's picked Marcus Rashford so perfectly. That was brilliant. That was just
I
delightful.
think that
And
was
Prathamesh,
one.
I'll come to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm coming to. I'm coming to. So basically, the substitutions again. There are plenty of people taking quite a piss. See, again, this is what I hate about a lot of fans. Yesterday, you've seen uh, Upamecano making mistakes, Konate making mistakes, which led to the goals. Obviously, Rashford induced those mistakes. That's one thing that we have to know. Uh, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has had defenders who make many more mistakes in a single game than what Leipzig did yesterday. And more often than not, it's because of you. I don't know. He somehow manages to uh, create a defensive system or something that can at least say can be a saving grace for us. Sometimes people don't realize that we don't have such good quality, and that sometimes we have to be laid back.
yeah,
Again,
we go on
people can
reputation.
counter on that. Yeah, we sort of go on reputation, and yeah, that is arguable. But again, yesterday, right from the starting 11 to the substitutions, I think Tuanzebe coming in the last 5 or 10 minutes, I think that was good. I think he needs to be brought back into the team slowly like that, Tuanzebe, because you last thing you really want is Tuanzebe to not to be absent again for another considerable amount of time. So we can, I think, it's fine if he's coming in slowly, but I'd love to see him start. What did you make of the substitutions yesterday? I think all of them were brilliant yesterday.
Yeah, I think all of them were brilliant in the sense in who replaced whom, along with the timing of the substitution as well. And I think, as you said, he had a lot of praise for Nagelsmann at the start of like even in the preview to the game. He praised the way Nagelsmann approaches the game. He praised the way his players actually execute those plans. So I think when it comes to these kind of big games, Ole is pretty prepared in his mind what he wants to do. I think one thing that we notice very well about Ole in these big games is that he doesn't over tactically just piss off his own brain. He has a simple frame in his mind, and then he tries to execute it with a couple of small tweaks. I think there is a manager at the other side of Manchester who doesn't understand that, but then anyway, that is what Ole at least does pretty well. So and yeah, that substitutions were brilliantly timed, and I think with Axel Tuanzebe, we saw him make a fantastic performance at Paris. But that was probably he wouldn't have started had Harry Maguire been fit enough. To be honest, probably it's better to bring him in slowly and see how he actually performs over a longer period of time rather than just to keep Gaga over him over one game. I think we need to see him play more consistently and play more better. With Bruno, I think, yeah, as you said, it's God's gift. It's also God's gift that in a way that Sporting were financially that in such a bad situation that they had to sell him. But for a cheaper price, I feel 47 million pound
Still,
plus.
they got a good
Yeah,
price, bro.
47 million
Still,
pounds
they
plus
got a good
add-ons.
price. I think
Yeah.
they still rode United down well.
Yeah,
Everyone does. Everyone
everyone
does.
does. Everyone does. But at the end of the day, if you ask me that, right now, would I pay that money for Bruno Fernandes? I would pay double the money for Bruno Fernandes right now because that is how important he is for the team. And I think what we saw in the second goal was probably one off the training ground as well, where, it was probably that it was probably executed very well because, you just can't. I mean, he does have a lot of peripheral vision as well, Bruno Fernandes. Let's not get that wrong. And Rashford timed his brilliantly. But, it must have gone wrong, 10 times out of 10 mostly in training, or probably 10 times out of 11, and probably the 11th time on the pitch it went absolutely perfectly, and even the first goal was probably a little bit of an offside confusion. But I think United strikers under Ole are timing their runs better than what they did a year back. There is no surprise in that. Ole himself being such a wonderful timer of runs inside the box, and it's good to see that Marcus finally got that third three-goal jinx out of his way. But I think I was even more impressed with the performance of Fred. I mean, such a massive influence, contributions in four goals, and it seemed disappointing that he couldn't contribute in the fifth goal in some way. But
It's not on the pitch, but okay.
yeah, I think he must have shouted to Marshall, give the pass to Marcus, and probably Marcus that probably might be the contribution for Fred. But yeah, I think it was great to see yesterday. Let's not overhype it right now, because I feel at the same time the consistency needs to keep going. We play a
Needs to be, yeah.
very well drilled Arteta's Arsenal, who probably are a hit and miss themselves, and on any given day they can be a huge
Yeah.
hit. So let's be aware of that as well and carry the positivity into Sunday's encounter. I'm pretty sure Kushagra is looking forward to it. It's a household derby for Kushagra, so that's pretty fantastic in itself.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a
I'll
cheap
get to
plug.
Kushagra on that. I'll get to Kushagra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll get to. So basically, again, uh, the stat that Kushagra was mentioning, that this was Nagelsmann's biggest defeat. We also have to remember the teams that he's managed are Mönchengladbach and Leipzig, which are very much prone to getting battered because they play teams like
Hoffenheim,
that
sorry.
the team that won Champions
Anurag.
League. Yeah.
Hoffenheim and Leipzig.
Hoffenheim.
Yeah,
I'm very sorry. I'm sorry. I always get confused with Marco Rose, and I'm
Yeah,
very
yeah.
sorry about that. Yeah.
Another fabulous coach, I must say.
Again,
yeah,
not big fan of this. Yeah. So again, uh, keeping all of that aside, now Alex Telles is out due to, I think, apparently he's
COVID.
tested positive. So
Yes.
speedy recovery to him. So now it's Arsenal. The For me, the this is the fixture that I think inside out. I think this is the biggest fixture for a lot of United fans, especially who started, watching football in the early parts of the 21st century. This is really the fixture. Back in the day, this was something else. Maybe it has lost its flair a little bit, but it's still, it brings back a lot of memories. It's a great fixture. Uh, it's to new people, to old legends, to legends of the club. Last time it didn't go really well for Ole. How do you expect this to go around, Kushagra?
It's Arsenal, and that man cannot just you just cannot keep his name out of your mouth. Sir Marcus of Rashford. Because he scored his first two ever Premier League goals against Arsenal on his Premier League debut. And just 30 seconds, I'd like to go back to this match. And he comes out of the match, and the very first tweet that he comes out with is a tweet about the signatures, about the 1 million signatures that his campaign has gotten. And then he talks about his performance at the
Lovely,
match
man.
and the goals and everything else. That boy is something else. He's a credit to Manchester United. He's a credit to the city of Manchester and England and the entire world, for that matter. I mean, just absolutely so fortunate to have him as a player of our club. And as Owen Hargreaves said yesterday, that he sees a future captain of United and hopefully England as well in Marcus Rashford. And I'm pretty sure that will happen. And the fact that he gave the penalty to Martial, even though Rashford was selfish, if you remember those runs that he made, and I'm so happy that he's selfish, because I want him to be selfish, because he can score more goals and has to be more ruthless. So yes, coming to the Arsenal match,
Yeah.
as Pratmesh said, we just cannot get carried away, even after the PSG result, wherein we did dominate PSG and deserved to win. You saw what happened against Chelsea, and it was one of the worst spectacles in my life. Considering what happened in the first half and the little bit of an attack in the second half, it really wasn't. It really wasn't fun to watch it. It really was extremely frustrating. And had VR had any common sense, United would have lost that match. So I don't know what would have we even been talking about. You cannot forget that the Premier League is our bread and butter, and we are 14th or 15th in the Premier League. It's unbecoming of a club like Manchester United to be even fifth, let alone be 15th. So I don't know exactly what kind of United will turn up, and that's something that bothers me a lot because the consistency that Prathamesh talks about, that's something that we've struggled for since Sir Alex has left. We've struggled for consistency. I think the only season we was remotely consistent in was the season in which we came second under Jose. But we was consistent against shit teams. We were absolutely crap against good, even half decent teams, because you would just sit in our half of the field and just wait for them to maybe make a mistake or maybe catch them on a counter. Now this is different. This is not exactly counter-attacking football. And I really I am hoping and praying for Solskjaer that he sticks to the diamond, that he doesn't go for three at the back or five at the back, especially with Telles out.
The biggest thing would be starting Dan James. I mean, I will
Oh
just
my
lose
God,
my
bro,
shit.
I will lose my
Lose
shit.
my shit.
I will genuinely lose my shit if I see Dan James, Juan Mata on the team
Especially with
sheet.
the amount of options we have with the diamond. Yeah.
I will lose my shit. I mean, and of course, I don't think Dan James fits a diamond because I think if you have to play Dan James in a diamond, you have to play him in one of the striker positions. And I think we've got too many good players for Dan James to play. And amongst the four rotation players, I would still have Mata. I would probably have Mata as the number 10. I think he can do a job if he has Pogba, Fred, and Martin behind him. I think he can still do a job. Not, of course, nowhere near as effective as Fernandez or Van de Beek. My starting lineup, ideal starting lineup, and so I know you didn't ask for it, but I was thinking about it. I couldn't sleep last night, man. I couldn't sleep. You can see the bags. Couldn't sleep last night. I think I was so high on adrenaline. I mean, it is the first time since Sir Alex left that I've actually seen such a performance in Europe from United, such a
Yeah.
thoroughly dominant performance. So
True. Yeah.
the
And
lineup,
just a question to our fans, and I will answer this at the end of the video. We have had another final performance in the Champions League after Sir Alex left. And whom was it against? That's the
yeah,
question.
I
I'll
remember
answer it
that.
at
I
the
remember
end.
that.
Cardiff
Yeah, I will
City.
answer.
Cardiff City, Ole's
No, no,
first
no,
game. Yeah.
no, no, no.
No,
In
no,
Europe, in
Champions
Europe,
League.
in Europe,
In
Champions
Champions
League.
League.
There is one more. There is one
Yeah.
more.
So just
Midland.
that answer is coming
Midland.
up at the end of the
No, that
video.
is Midland was Europa.
No.
Mitchell.
Europa League. Anurag, I will answer
Europa.
at the end of the video, dude.
Yeah.
Just chill for
So
right now.
I'll come to the starting lineup that I'd like to see at least. Uh, Unfortunately, Telles is out. Would have really liked to see Telles play, and I was so impressed with his crossing against PSG. Let's hope he can make a comeback, but I think he's out for a month at least, with 14 days there and then a 14-day international break. So I think he's out for a month, and maybe we'll see his reintegration into the squad once the international break is over. So of course, David De Gea starts in goal. Van Bissaka is back to his best. And David De Gea, just a little word on David De Gea. What a save from Konate, Ibrahima Konate, that header. That man's reflexes, he's like a cat. He's like a cat. The guy is just unbelievable. So I'm so happy to see him back. And there are a couple of real big positives that we have. So De Gea in goal, Van Bissaka at right back, Luke Shaw at left back. I'd like to see Harry Maguire and Tuanzebe as the centre halves because actually I would like to see Tuanzebe and Lindelof, but he will never drop Harry Maguire. So of course we got to sort of be sensible there. In the diamond, of course, I'd like to see the diamond Matic, Fred, Van de Beek, and Fernandez because I genuinely felt Pogba wasn't fit last night. There were so many instances where he was going like he's really breathing out of his mouth, breathing out like they say he's breathing out of his arse, like they say in England. And Pogba was looking tired, so I would like for him to maybe come in as an impact substitute like he has, and let him take a rest and let him go again against Istanbul and get the 3 victories and get this group done and over with. Uh, Van de Beek and Fernandes as the tip of the diamond, and the strikers I would like for them to be Rashford and Greenwood, with Cavani and
Yeah.
fuck it, we'll have to have Dan James, Cavani and Igalo as the guys who are waiting to come on if they're going to come on. So this is going to be my starting 11. I really hope Ole gets close to this because I feel even though Arsenal will definitely go for a back five, they'll definitely go for a congested midfield and a couple of people up top. But I feel United should look to go and kill them like the way they did with RB Leipzig. And I don't think Arsenal can press United the way RB Leipzig did. So
and most importantly, Leipzig also played a similar formation to what Arsenal might play on the weekend. So
Yes, they
yeah,
played
so
three at the
Yeah,
back.
exactly. I think
yeah,
that's a good
so
practice for us. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, so that was good practice as well. And for me, the lineup would remain exactly the same with one change. Is Bruno for Pogba, because as you said, I think Pogba looked tired, but Pogba
Yes.
still showed glimpses of magic, including the first goal where he had a perfectly timed pass for Greenwood, almost perfectly timed pass for Greenwood rather. And it would be great to see him creating impact. I really,
Yeah.
really want to see
Greenwood, what
Cavani
a good
start.
finish.
I really want to see Cavani start because I think
I don't
that's
think I don't think he'll start, Prathamesh. I don't think he'll start. I think
I
he'll
think
keep. How
yeah,
can
I
you
think we're gonna
drop? How can you drop Rashford after a hat trick? And how can you
yeah,
not play
Rob,
Greenwood?
yeah, that's the only thing.
He
But
took Greenwood off after 60 minutes.
yeah,
I think he
yeah.
kept him for I
But
think the match.
it would make a lot of sense to play him against the likes of Mustafi, who was like he might be aerially okay, but he can't handle movement.
Yeah.
That's really one thing that you look at the Arsenal centre backs and they probably are not aerially
Yeah,
as
I
good
think the
enough as
pace
well.
of Greenwood
Yeah,
and Rashford would be lethal. Yeah.
it would be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anurag, before you tell us your starting lineup, just a final question before you wrap up. What do you think of this perception that Van de Beek is a number 10? My only question is, how can he be a number 10 when Ajax don't play with it? I mean, I mean, do people not watch
Yeah, again,
football?
yeah, exactly. See, I think if anything, he's a more of a Pogba sort of a player. Is he can go box to box, he can make those runs. I think one thing that a lot of good Dutch football following journalists that have been saying is watch out for uh, Van de Beek's running. That is where he's going to
Yeah.
be magnificent. And we've seen yesterday a few times he was winning balls where people might have given up. Maybe they've allowed the defensive team to take control. He was going in. He's pressing hard. He keeps running and running, and his ball control in close spaces is so beautiful, such a delightful. He's not a sort of a player you obviously want at number 10 because his passing eventually it's good, but not the level to which you would want a number 10 to have.
But
Now you see
he's
Bruno's
so
passing. He
careful with
finds
the
passes
ball.
of somewhere else.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I
exactly.
was really encouraged by what Solskjaer said about him in the post match. He talked about his energy. He talked about how careful he is with the ball. He talked about his defensive output. Talked about the fact that he gave
Yeah,
everything, and that he's a fantastic player. And
yeah.
all of that, I just pray to God that Solskjaer hasn't fallen into the trap of what, with all due respect, a lot of stupid pundits have been saying, about him being a number 10.
Yeah, indeed, bro. I think that pretty much sums up what we all wanted to say. I think again, Prathamesh said what change that he would have wanted in the
Yeah.
11. I think I'd go with the pretty much the same 11 that Kushagra mentioned. And as far as Cavani is concerned, I think one thing that we can expect is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is to sort of surprise us sometimes with the 11 choices. Besides a
Yes,
few names,
yes.
uh,
He got
besides a few
McTominay
names.
for the
So
presser, right? And didn't start it.
you never
Yeah.
know. So again, whatever happens, this is a big picture. Arsenal
Yeah.
United, as always, is going to be spicy.
And
Massive.
It's going to be
before
charged
you
and
end it,
tribal.
yeah,
That's what. Yeah, yeah,
before you end it, just to answer the question which was put
Oh
forward by
yeah.
me before, and he's a little tension of your mind as well. First of all, before I answer that question, Donny Van de Beek reminds me of one player Louis Van Gaal wanted to sign for United in his time, particular German wearing number 25 for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Muller.
Yeah. Secondly, coming to the answer, it is also related to Germany, where United traveled to Bayer
Wolfsburg.
Leverkusen,
Also
Bayer
Leverkusen.
Leverkusen,
Yeah, Leverkusen. Yes, yes, yes.
and we won final
first
on
game
that.
of. I think it was the
It was the first
group
away
stages.
game,
Yeah,
yeah,
Moyes under
first
Moyes.
under Moyes, and we won final. So that's pretty.
Scored in that game. That's what I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's some interesting trivia that we have regarding David Moyes in 5-0. Interestingly.
Yeah. Probably the only five
Yeah,
away goals we
interesting.
scored in the
If we
championship.
can potentially add one more to it. Yeah, if we can just add one more to that against Arsenal, I think now wouldn't that be outstanding for this?
Ah,
So
I would
again,
take a
that's it
2-0, bro,
from
as
us.
long as it's a
I
win.
hope
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, I think 3 points is all we need. Yes, a lot of United fans would be disappointed with the fact that we have 15th on the table, but also this is a very early stages. Please do not be too disappointed with it. We are still just 3 points of the fifth position and 4 points of the top four, and we have a match in hand. So I think let's not be too concerned about that. There are teams dropping points quite vigorously. I think this is going to be the most open Premier League season that we're going to have in a few years now. So it's all exciting. It's all wonderful. We hope United pull off a great performance. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope both of you do well in the coming days, and I hope all of you guys enjoy the match. Thank you so much for watching and keep supporting.